What's up, guys? Rick from DFS On Demand here with a recap video of the AT&T Pebble Beach last week. Took me a couple of days. Life has been a little bit busy this week, but I did want to follow up on this in terms of full transparency and to finish the discussion. So if you remember correctly, I threw out a bunch of lineups with a bunch of different strategies at the AT&T Pebble Beach last week. I provided you a spreadsheet of all of those lineups and kind of a thought process of what I was going through. And it was a really good discussion all week. Appreciate everyone sweating with me. It's something that we're going to have to do more often. It was a lot of fun. And now we're going to put a bow on it. So if you're watching on the YouTube version of this, I'm showing all my lineups here. If you remember correctly, it was 230 different entries. Does not necessarily mean it was 230 unique lineups, because it wasn't. We played the same cash game lineup. I handmade some. I used optimizers for others, etc., etc. What it ended up being was $447 in entries. And here were the results. Not great. So we lost money. We returned about $300. So we lost about $140. And I'm showing the actual lobby here in DraftKings. And you can see GPPs, we basically lost in every GPP, lost some portion of the buy-ins. But we crushed in the cash games. So this is now like the third or fourth week in a row that I've started to play cash games. I would never touch this, and it's been a really, really good run so far. I think we won 9 out of 11 of these, or 8 out of 10 if I'm counting correctly here. So what went wrong, and is it something that we should have figured out or not? So just to look back, this was the tournament last week. This was the final leaderboard from Pebble Beach, and there's going to be a few problems here. There's a couple of things that went terribly wrong for us. So if it was like Thursday and Friday, we were winning a lot of money. We had a top 5 lineup in the wedge, which is the $50 3 max. We were in really good shape, but a couple of things went terribly, terribly wrong. Chesson Hadley was 9 over and almost finished dead last in this. So if we scroll down, Hadley is basically 20 spots from the bottom here. And when I was flipping through this, this guy did not make a birdie through 2 rounds. He didn't not make one until the 3rd round. So even the other guys that played just as poorly as he did were making birdies. They were increasing that DraftKings scoring. And I had Hadley in, let's see here, some outrageous amount of lineups. It ended up being 42% of lineups. Obviously not ideal. Even with Hadley from day one, he was like 4 over in his first 4 holes. He was out of it immediately. Even with that being said, we had a lot of live lineups here. We had a lot of bullets because of this really great exposure that we got to Matt Every, who we had in 13% of our lineups, or almost 14% of our lineups. And we had 100% of him in both the, that's Pat Mayo's, in the GC Cup, the Pat Mayo experience, and I believe that was the Micro Dollar was the other one that we had. 80 and Micro Millions, we had 80%, and the Micro Dollar, we had 60% of him. So that was like the call of the week, right? I got a lot of tweets. A lot of people were saying they also played Every. They won some. I think I saw someone say they won the $150 GPP with it. So congrats there. That really saved us. So Every comes in and finishes. What was his final? T14. Okay, and that was with a 1 over Sunday. We'll take that from a $62 player all day, every day. Couple other things that really went wrong here, and I'm showing you my core, is, where is it? It was Adam Scott somewhere. Yeah, Adam Scott, bogeys 18 on Saturday to miss the cut. which killed our cash lineup. We had Scott and Casey in a bunch of lineups. This is when Casey was still in first. That hurt. And then Dominic Bizzelli, who, and I'll show you, this was my best lineup, and it was actually a handmade lineup for the $50 wedge, was Spieth, Mickelson, Henley, Gooch, Casey, and Dominic Bizzelli. Henley and Gooch missed the cut. Bizzelli also misses the cut, but does it with an MDF T61. He actually made a run on the back nine on Saturday, needed to eagle 18, which is a par 5, to make the cut, and he birdied it. Ended up shooting a 68, which was nice to see, but did not get through. This was still the highest scoring lineup that we put together because it had Phil, obviously. We had a lot of Spieth who faded over the last 2 rounds. And then the fact that Casey actually fell out of first stinks. And the fact that Phil Mickelson winning this thing stinks, because if you look at our ownership here, the 3 guys that we really did not want to win this thing were Fleetwood, Kuchar, and Mickelson. We would have had plenty of shares of those other guys up there. So when Phil goes out and wins it, we are not going to have a good week. Did we do something wrong here? I don't necessarily think so. I think we had a nice cash game lineup that was well thought out. I thought we did a really nice job in the thought process of how we were creating these other lineups, getting exposure to players that were on specific waves. For example, getting exposure to guys who have a high total win percentage. I think the thought process was there. We just had a few really unfortunate things happen to us. Jordan Spieth on Saturday and Sunday, I think he shot like 65 or 70. What did he shoot? It was something brutal. It was 70. Let's see. Bear with me here. Why can't I ever find this? Oh, here we go. 74-75 on Saturday, Sunday to just absolutely take him out of contention after going 66-68. That happens. Phil ends up winning. If Phil finishes second, we do a lot better. Adam Scott missing the cut. Chesson Hadley, if he finishes, 100th, we probably do better. So I just think there was a couple of weird things that kind of decided the week, but this is something that we'll look to do more often. I want to be transparent. We might have to start talking a little bit about cash games, quite honestly, because I know it's only been 3 or 4 weeks. I think I'm still very bad at this. I'm learning a lot, but I'm winning a ton of cash games. A lot of head-to-heads, something that I'm spending more and more time on. So that might be something that we work in the future here. So keep an eye out for that. But much appreciate the support this week. I haven't had as much time for this week at the Genesis to build as many lineups this week, so I probably won't do 200 or something. I'll probably just throw a couple of lineups in and see what happens. But as the year continues to gear up, we'll do more and more in this. And if that's interesting to you, let me know. Tweet me. It's at DFS On Demand, or leave a comment below. I'll talk to you guys soon. Good luck.